Hello, welcome to part two of today's online class. I decided to do them in two parts just for ease of uploading and also for ease of finding the videos later on. So this is the second part of our warming up and cooling down. So this is of course the cooling down segment. I've just done a workout with the Down Dog Bar app, hashtag not sponsored, but I really like it. It's free at the minute for anyone with a ed.ac.uk, I think it's just ac.uk email address. So students and staff, I would recommend it. It's free until July, I think. But the reason I wanted to do that in between doing this warm-up and cool down is because they don't include a warm-up, or there's a tiny cool down, but they don't have a full stretch and cool down included in their practices. So it's important to keep that in mind if you're going to use it. So a lot of the exercise in that app is very ballet focused. There's a lot of work on leg lifts, so the inside of the thighs and the glutes are worked really hard, but they also do some ab workouts. So they're the areas I'm going to focus on when I'm stretching, but it really depends on what kind of activity you've done, what kind of stretching you'll need to do. So I find after I've done Lindy Hop that my calves are really tight, so I do a lot of calf stretches. So that's, as we did earlier, we had a dynamic version of this. For cool down, you want to be doing static stretching. So dynamic stretching is where you move throughout the stretch, and static stretching is where you hold the stretch for ideally quite a bit of time. Not actually sure what it does, but it will help you with your recovery afterwards and stop you getting all the aches that I always get when I dance, because I forget to actually cool down and stretch out. So as I mentioned, for Lindy Hop and for anything that's got your calves going, for running, say for example, that's the back leg stretched, front leg slightly knees in line with toes or front of, and just holding that there, both feet flat on the floor, and just hold that as long as you feel like you need it. And you can take that to the other side. You can also multitask at this point, so you can do maybe an arm stretch depending if you've been doing arm work. In general, it's nice to just stretch the whole body out and take some time to pay attention to your body. So you can do arm across the body. So at the minute I've got my right arm over my left. My left is in a kind of right angle shape. Stretch out the shoulders. And as always, make sure to do both sides. You can also stretch out the shoulders and the back by taking one arm over and then holding it down with the other arm. Or alternatively for this one, you can connect the hands up, but this really depends on how your flexibility is. And on the other side, so over the top and back. Or alternatively, hands connecting. I'm slightly tighter on this side. Nice. So again, what you do in your cool down really depends on what your aim is as well. So whether you're doing this for recovery purposes or whether you're doing it for flexibility purposes. Flexibility training will often help with recovery, but it usually it involves a lot more staying in poses for longer and also for stretching a little bit further each time, as opposed to recovery where you don't want to stretch more than you feel you can. Shouldn't anyway. You should never feel any pain. If at any point you do feel pain in a stretch, you've gone too far, you need to pull it back. So I'm going to show you some of the stretches that I do in my general cool down. So say I've done dance for a bit, or I've just gone for a run, something not body part specific. So I tend to start with my legs, or I'll do the arm cool down I've just done. I'm going to bring this to a lower layer. Awesome. So, first of all, stretch out the hips, put the feet together and out to the side. You can have, feet might be further forward, or you might want to cross over one over the other. I just find if you do the one over the other, you have to do this twice to make sure you get the stretch on both sides. So I like to do feet together. And just find where it's comfortable. Your knees, your legs might not touch the floor, and that's fine, don't push it. Then you stretch up and then over the legs. So you want to keep the back straight as much as you can, but relax the head and the neck. And then just hold it for as long as it feels comfortable. And then I do one leg bent, one leg stretched, so out to the side as much as possible, and then take it over the leg. Again, just as far as you can, as far as it's comfortable. I am massively out of practice because my gym is closed, so I'm not quite as bendy as I usually am, but that's okay. You can do it over to the side like that, or you can do it over the leg. And again, don't force it, don't make it hurt. And again, make sure to do both sides. And so over the side, this is my tighter side, I can never go quite as far. And over the leg. And we'll come back to this position in a minute, but first off I like to do the glutes and the hamstrings. I think it's the hamstrings, so move it back, knees bent but feet on the floor. Take the right leg on top and then lift the left leg towards you. And this stretches out the backs of the legs here and the glutes. And the other side. I recommend holding them for longer than I am, but just for the purposes of the video and just for exampling the kind of movements, I'm just going to do them for a couple of seconds. And I will fully stretch myself out afterwards. After that, go back to the knees bent position. Take the right leg up and straight and take hold of the back of the leg. Make sure you're either holding on to the, what is this bit, the thigh or the calves, but do not hold on to the knees. So you either want to be up here or down here. I should just go for down here just because it means I can pull it closer. But keep in mind, try and keep your stretched leg as stretched as possible without pain. And then if you can, stretch the left leg out as well. And try and keep the right leg where it is. Same on the other side, so both legs bent. Take the left leg up. Stretch out the right leg. And if you are working for flexibility, try breathing, it's on the breathe in, stretch the leg, and as you breathe out, pull the leg towards you. So in, stretch, out, towards you. Awesome. So we go back to this side to side pose. Again, this, wherever you are, doesn't really matter. As long as you're getting a stretch, that's all that matters. So, both legs out to the side this time, rather than one bent, one straight. Stretched. I mixed up straight and stretched. We're going to go over to one side, I'm going to take the right leg this time, and do the same again, just over to the side. And then over the leg, as much as you can. And then over to the side. And then over the leg. And this time also take it into the middle as much as you can. My leg is really tight at the minute actually, so I'm not going to do that one too much. If you are feeling comfortable in a stretch, you can walk it forward. If you are really flexible, you can walk it through. So if you're trying to get that and trying to get through over the leg, the way to start that is by putting one hand behind you, lifting up, and then going over, like that, until you're forward. But the aim is to just be able to push forward, which I can't do at the minute. Again, I'm not fully stretched out as I normally would be. I also tend to do a few twists, so if this is a shorter one, I'll do both legs in, take the left leg out straight, and then take the right leg over to the left side, and take the head and the arm, the head and the right arm out to the side, to the right side. And then you can reset in the middle, stretch out the right leg this time, and take the left leg over to the right side, take the left leg out to the left side and the head over to the left side as well. Try and keep your shoulders, both shoulders, flat to the floor, and just breathe into it. And then come up to do some standing stretches, so I will move the camera back up. Sorry for the motion there. So we've already had the calf stretch there. From this one you can then take it back the other way, so we were now bending the back leg. So in this case I'm bending my right leg and keeping my left leg straight. You can, if you want to make the stretch even more, you can lift the toe up and hold on to the toe, but just make sure that you're not rounding the back. Try and keep the back straight as much as you can to protect the back. And you can do that on the other side. So this time my left leg is going back and bending, my right leg's in front and stretched, and lifting up. You should feel the stretch in the back here, back of the calf again, and all the way up the leg actually. We then have lifting up the right leg. If your balance is really good and your flexibility is there, you can take this out to the side and try and hold that there. These are more yogic practices, but I find they really help with centering and keeping my balance. Basically. And other side, hugging the left leg in. If you want to take it out. And then we'll take the right leg up to the back. Try and keep the knees together, keep the hips forward. And just hold on to it's usually the shoelaces, but I'm not wearing shoes. So the top of my foot. If you can't reach that, that's okay. You can hold on to wherever you need to, whether that's the toes. If you need to relax them more, especially if you have sensitive knees, you might want to go for the toes option or just even hold it there. So just let the leg be about 90 degrees to the other one. And take it to the other side, lifting up the left leg, holding the knees together. My floor is really uneven. And again, if you want extra stretch, take the hips forward rather than pulling the leg away. Awesome, I think that's everything I do. But make sure that all the different parts of your body are stretched out. Sometimes I'll do up dog, which is the one where you're on your, cobra, where you're down on your front and then you lift up to stretch out your abs. But that again depends on your back and depends if you've actually done any kind of ab related stuff, which I don't tend to do too much. And in terms of flexibility training, I will then go back to doing the hip flexor stuff. So I'm currently training to do the forward backward splits. So I'll take a hip flexor but do it as a static stretch this time rather than a dynamic stretch. And then I'll take that back, so bend the left leg, stretch the right leg, and then try and come over the leg like this. I'll do that a few times, I'll hold each one for a little while, and then when I feel a little more comfortable in both of these positions, I'll then start sliding the right leg forward. I've picked the wrong leg to do this on, hold up. So left leg, hip flexor, trying to push the hips, keep the hips square to the floor and pushing into the floor, but static this time, so no pulse, just holding it down. And then taking it back, over the leg. And forward. In terms of how long I hold it for, it'll depend if I'm using music. If I'm in the gym, I tend to use the clock because the music changes too often and is in different tempos. And I'll usually stay for about 20 to 30 seconds. If you don't have a timer or anything, just hold it, count, say for 10 seconds, or hold it until you feel the stretch kind of mellow out. So you stop kind of feeling that stretch. So this is as much as I can get, really. So that you can't even see it, that's fine. But that's more for if you're trying to get more flexible with things. And I also say doing things like leg swings but with the legs stretched will help with that if you're trying to get high kicks and that kind of thing. But that is not the point of a cool down, that's more for flexibility training. So if you are trying to cool down, just making sure that you have stretched all the muscles that you've used, and if you're feeling aches in the following days, just repeat those stretches as long as your body is warm enough to do that. Doing stretches while cold can be dangerous for the muscles depending on the stretch and depending on your flexibility. And again, I'd like to repeat that I am not an expert, so I'm just sharing what I've learned. So I hope this helps though, and hope you keep dancing, you keep looking after your body through this time. Thank you.